So which resort is more expensive, Courchevel or Val d'Isere?
Do you like 150 days of winter?
Let's do this.
To geek the hell out.
I bring up this question only because several people stated to me recently that Val d'Isere is now officially more expensive than Courchevel. Now, in the old days, ski resorts used to compare each other by much simpler metrics. Height. Did you ever wonder why there were so many ski resorts that were at 1,850 meters? Let me give you a hint. The Croisette in Courchevel isn't at 1,850 meters. Luckily, such numbers are no longer bandied around. All the heights at resorts have disappeared. Courchevel 1850 is now just called Courchevel. I did a bit of digging to find where this sort of headline came from, and it looks like the data where these headlines came from this website. The link for that is down below, which collects data from various estate agents. In France we call them immobiliers, to calculate the median price in the regions. Now, before I start wittering off numbers, it's worth noting what metric is being used to make this statement. I mean, it's all fine and good, say, property prices, but again, how are you actually collecting these prices? Of course, if you go into this website, you can zoom into almost any region of France and get some averages, even down to street level. And of course, it's also divided between apartment and chalet prices, all down to the price per meter squared. If we take a step back and look at the complete map of France, you can see there are two hotspots, the Alps and the south coast. Now, if we zoom into the Rhône-Alpes region, you can see again the hotspot is on the far right in the Savoie region. Now, of course, here comes the first problem. How do we define Courchevel? The mairie of Saint-Bon-Courchevel is made up of at least 6 villages, or at least 6 villages with the word Courchevel in them. It's actually made up of far more. We have, of course, where the mairie is down at Saint-Bon, we have Le Prat, we have Le Tania, we have Village, Morillon, and finally, what used to be Courchevel 1850, Courchevel. Now, of course, if you take a median of all those properties, all those little villages down the valley are going to be far cheaper than the ones right at the top. Now, on the other hand, Val d'Isere is made up of smaller region La Daille and Val d'Isere, which of course includes all the little hamlets, making Val d'Isere's average obviously far higher. Of course, and also the data which is used by this website is only taken from certain estate agents. And in this region, it looks like it's mainly taken from Alps. Before I get accused of being incredibly biased, because of course I live in Courchevel, and of course I am going to try and skew the figures as much as possible to make Courchevel look better than it is. But trust me when I say I have tried to be as equitable as I can when I've come across these figures. However, there will always be a property that I've missed or something like this. There's only so far I can go. I've already spent way too much time collating data from various estate agent websites across the web in order to get a wide range of what are expensive chalets and apartments in both of these resorts. It should be noted that Val d'Isere is suffering from a major case of redevelopment over the last 6 years. Every time I drive into a resort, I notice another landmark has disappeared and been replaced by a luxury building. I mean, back in 2020, the iconic Morris pub was finally demolished, just one of many. I think since at least 2017, there's been a €200 million redevelopment to reshape the centre of valdisere. And of course, in the process, a lot of smaller properties have been knocked down. I should know Courchevel have been doing it for absolute years. Looking at the figures on the website, we can see that the average in valdisere for an apartment is about €15,000 and about 22,000 for a chalet. Of course, the lows and the highs go from 13 up to 40,000 per metre squared, and 40,000 is a very high number. Courchevel comes out at 12,000 for an apartment and about 13,800 for a chalet. Again, going from 9 to 21,000. Now, while I'm about it, I might as well do a quick search of Meilleurs, which is all too often compared to Courchevel. And in this case, it's about €5,000 for an apartment and 7,000 for a chalet. A relative bargain. I've spent way too much time finding the best properties, and by best I mean the most expensive, in both resorts. I'm sure someone will point out I've missed out a certain chalet and so on and so forth. We can see in this list that I've created from size, price and price per metre squared. However, there are some things that are immediately obvious. The top chalets in Courchevel are over twice the size of those in valdisere. And of course, even though there are no names on this list, certain chalets are very easy to identify. And if you remember an old video about chalet Apopka, which is 2,700 metres squared, and noted has never been occupied and is empty and almost derelict, sold back in 2021 for just over €24 million. Allegedly, it was purchased by the person who was selling it to buy out his partners, but if you look purely at the numbers, this is only €9,000 per metre squared, an absolute bargain. Now, if we sort this by size, you can see that the top 6 are in Courchevel, and if we sort it by price, well, the top 5 are in Courchevel. And finally, if we sort it by metres squared, then the list becomes far more equally mixed between Courchevel and valdisere. In conclusion, about who has the most expensive property in the French Alps, well, that's the great thing about numbers, is depending on how you display them, you can make numbers say almost anything. As I've said before, if you measure by value or by size, Courchevel wins hands down. But if you focus on some high-end new developments in valdisere, then the price per metre square wins out. So there you have it. I hope you found this informative. If you, of course, disagree with any of my findings, I would love to read your comments down below. If you enjoyed it, click the like button. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to click the subscribe button. And of course, if you would like to support the channel, I have a link down below to a t-shirt site where I sell ski-related t-shirts. And on that, I will see you all in the next video. Ciao.